Hello, my little draconic wolfkins. I hope that you're all doing well. If you guys like what you see and hear, please like, subscribe, and turn on that bell to get notified. And if you guys want to send me your own horror stories, my email will be in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. I grew up in Colorado, and in the 3rd grade, we were doing a brief overview of the gold rush and before talking about rocks. Okay? The gold rush, fuck. Yeah, where everyone was moving to California for the gold rush. If I remember correctly. My teacher showed us different towns where mining had occurred. One being Estes Park. Hey! I've been to Estes! Because I lived in Colorado for a little bit. And it's actually a really beautiful place. I am not gonna lie. Like, I would 10 out of 10 go there again, honestly. In the lecture, the teacher brought up the Stanley Hotel, talking about how it was one of the first buildings in the town. This is when I became consumed with the hotel. Something there was calling me. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Stanley Hotel is reportedly haunted, and I did stay at the Stanley Hotel on my 21st birthday. So it was actually really fun to be at the Stanley Hotel and in Estes Park. My family took at least one trip every year to Estes, and I've seen the hotel, but we never went close to it. On our next trip, I asked my parents about it, and they explained that it was famous for being haunted. Yep, it is. We took me, my mom, my dad, and my aunt and uncle took a haunted ghost tour of the hotel, and it was honestly really cool and fascinating. I didn't get any video of the hotel because my phone was dead, unfortunately. But the next time I go, I want to do the ghost tour again and maybe catch some ghosts and maybe upload it to see if anyone saw anything on said footage. They didn't go into any details as they don't believe in the paranormal. I begged them to take me, but they never did. I had a fleeting understanding of what the hotel was all about until middle school. In middle school, my sister started reading The Shining. What a book for a middle schooler to read. I mean, yeah, this, like, if I remember correctly, the hotel, the Stanley Hotel, inspired the book of The Shining, but I don't believe that the show/movie by that same name was filmed in the Stanley Hotel. So there is that. She would tell me about what she had read for the day, and at one point told me it's based on the Stanley. I lost my mind after finding this out, and at this point I had unlimited internet access and did my own research. I found out what had happened, leading to the creation of the book. Ooh, okay, so we're gonna get some information about the book and maybe the show/movie. For those who don't know, The Shining was written by Stephen King, a famous horror novelist. Anyways, I would watch The Shining over and over again, imagining what it would be like to stay in the hotel. At one point in my early teens, I asked my parents about their honeymoon, and they said they had stayed in the hotel. I couldn't have been more excited to learn this. I would pester them constantly, asking about everything that had happened when they stayed. Every time they would tell me it's a normal hotel and it's not haunted. Uh-huh. I mean, granted, not everyone believes in the supernatural and whatnot, so that makes sense. A few years later, when we were in Estes, my parents finally decided to tell me about their stay in the Stanley. Ooh, okay. Okay, so this is gonna be like some secondhand recounting on their part. They said they had checked in and checked out within a few hours. When I asked why, they stated they felt like someone was watching them and they heard strange noises coming from the surrounding rooms and in the halls. It was weird enough to unsettle them and they left. They insisted that it wasn't ghosts or anything paranormal, just drug addicts or someone playing pranks. Again, I begged them to take me so I could see for myself. They refused. It's not worth the money, they tell me, trying to get me to drop it. I don't agree with them there, because if if you do like haunted places, like hotels that are still in use, or like haunted jails and whatnot, and if you're allowed to stay overnight at these places, especially the Stanley sense of the Shining book and show, I would say it is 100% worth it. Like, I am not gonna lie, because I loved it when I stayed at the Stanley Hotel, even though my uncle did scare the shit out of me. Because he was lifting my bed when I was trying to sleep, so he scared me. But he's honestly an awesome man, so I can't complain too much. For my 21st birthday, my parents surprised me with a 2-night stay at the hotel and included a haunted tour. Yes! The reservation was a few months away, so to prepare, I started watching The Shining over and over as I'd done previously, planning to play out every scene by myself to scare unsuspected guests, and it was probably a week before my reservation when I learned the movie wasn't shot in the hotel, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. Yeah, I knew that the movie wasn't shot in the actual hotel itself. I forget what hotel The Shining was shot in, but if you remember watching The Shining and did a little research, you probably know what hotel was The Shining was filmed in. So you can leave a comment on that. When it was finally time, I rushed as fast as I could to the Stanley, playing the scenes in my head, hoping everything would happen while I was there. When I showed up, I was slightly disappointed due to the fact that they were renovating and there was scaffolding all over the main hotel. My disappointment didn't last long. As soon as I walked in the doors, my breath was literally taken away. I audibly gasped, and a man standing by the doors acknowledged this by saying, "Yeah, I know, right?" At least the guy was like, "Yeah, you right. I know the feeling too." But if I remember correctly, I think they were doing some renovations. And I think when I was there, they had recently done the flooring. I could be wrong. Then again, it also happened on my 21st birthday. Yeah. Or was it my 22nd? Either way, it was one of the two. We had a brief talk and I went to check in. They put me in room 314, almost directly above the room from the book. I settled in and was pleased to find my way. My room was dingy and off-putting. It was everything I'd hoped. I spent the next few hours wandering around, taking photos, hoping I could look back and see figures hiding in corners. The hotel felt like a maze, long dark hallways, a creepy staircase leading to the attic. The strangest part was I never ran into another guest while exploring. I felt like I had entered another dimension. Yeah, I felt that. Like, if you're planning on going to SDs, explore everywhere, honestly. Especially the Stanley Hotel. When it came to the tour that night, I could barely contain my excitement. The guide gave us all the guests a rundown of everything we'd be exploring. Our first stop was the music hall. Honestly, I kind of felt unsettled in the music hall. And the barn, too. So, as soon as we entered the building, the air got heavy and my attention was pulled to the dark stairwell to the basement. The guide took us to the top floor and gave us the history of the music hall, then took us to the main music hall area. Ooh! All the guests were handed a dum-dum stick sucker and told to walk around, getting the attention of the children's ghosts lingering in the hall. After a while, left to explore the main hall on our own. We were called back together to talk about the basement. At this point, I hadn't witnessed any ghostly events and was a little disappointed. As the guide walked and talked, I held the sucker in my hand, waiting for anything to happen. The sucker was knocked out of my hand and landed on the floor a few feet away. The guests behind me wanted no part of what I had just witnessed, and they handed me the sucker and walked away. Ooh, okay, I like that. I don't remember our guide giving us dum-dum suckers, honestly. I really don't remember ever doing that. Fuck. Now I want to go back and do that, honestly, because I want, like, some kind of activity like that. The guy took us to the basement and explained a little of the ghosts residing there, a man and a woman. They were staff of the hotel owners, I believe. The guide said the woman is more active than the man, but the man would occasionally focus himself on young women of the groups he had guided before. We were left again to wander the main area, and I was pulled to the antique mirror in the center of the wall. I took many photos of it while I was alone. We then went to the ladies' room and were trying to get her to do anything to us. Sadly, nothing happened. Aw. Yeah, I don't really remember anything happened while I was there either, honestly. But I do remember some areas being unsettling. We then went to the man's room. The guide was talking about him, and I became very uncomfortable. I felt as though I couldn't breathe. Something felt to be hugging me tightly. I couldn't move or speak. I must have turned white as the guy came up to me, put his hand on my shoulder, and asked if I felt okay. I mean, yeah. At least. Sorry, had to get some water. At least the guide came up to you and asked if you were okay. After noticing you went pale and had trouble breathing, as soon as his hand touched me, I could breathe again. I couldn't explain what happened. It could have been excitement or my mind playing tricks on me. Yeah. The rest of the tour went by without any events, and when I concluded, I sat in the lobby looking over some photos. The man from when I checked in was still in the lobby and sat next to me asking about my tour. I explained, and he found out he was just visiting for the day and was supposed to head to Boulder. Boulder is also a really beautiful place to go in Colorado. He was from the south, and it had just started to snow, and he didn't want to drive down the mountain. Yeah, that is fair. Driving in the snow sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Snow just. Ugh. I was naive and still feeling uneasy about my experience, so I invited him to stay in my room with me that night. I felt safer with a stranger than with whatever that made me feel that way before. He agreed, and we stayed up most of the night talking. When we finally decided to sleep, we laid on opposite edges of the bed facing away from each other. I didn't sleep much that night, and around 5 to 6 a.m., I heard this guy just get up and leave. Oh no. I guess that's normal. I'm not sure though. He didn't come back, so I texted him, thanking him for keeping me company. He responded saying how the whole time he was trying to sleep, I kept rubbing his back and putting my arm around him. I know I didn't do any of that and was freaked out. I couldn't tell if he was joking around, but I didn't ask any questions. I slept for most of the day, intent on staying up and watching TV that night. I'd probably do the same thing, honestly. That night went by smoothly and nothing of note happened, but while I was passing the time, I was looking at my photos I had taken. The ones of the mirror stuck out to me. I could clearly see faces and what looked like a child sitting in front of my legs with their hands pressed to the mirror. I told myself it was just an illusion that the hotel made to give people memorable photos for the trip. I don't know how easy that would be done without you seeing that. So, I guess that could be possible, but I doubt it, honestly. Months after I stayed, I kept having a feeling that something was with me, following me. I had a few unexplainable events happen that a couple of my friends had also witnessed on occasion. I think whatever had held me in that basement had attached itself to me permanently. I have this overwhelming feeling that something was pulling me to the hotel my whole life. Maybe it started on my parents' honeymoon all those years ago. It could be possible, but I don't know. The Stanley is reportedly haunted, so I would recommend staying there if you guys are interested. And if I go back, maybe I could tell y'all what happened, or just let my videos do the speaking for me. I don't know. So leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you next video.